Hello, all. I hope you're all doing well and having a productive week. We are continuing with our weekly portion review, and this week we are in the portion of Chukat. Chukat comes from the word chok, which means decree, rule, law, and this week portion focus on the the contamination of the body due to being in contact with the dead, the red heifer, which and its purification method, very secret, spooky concept. We also focus on the death of Miriam and Aaron, Moses' brother and sister. And we also have the failure of Moses at the waters of Meribah when he, of course, the stone. I want to focus on the reason why Moses does not, and Aaron as well, but why they are not continuing with the people of Israel into the land of Israel as their leaders, which would seem quite natural. While there's other things to discuss in this weekly portion, those will be left for next year's cycle and the cycles after that. Please God. So, why doesn't Moses and Aaron lead the people into the land? And like we said, this would seem sort of obvious because they're Moses and Aaron. And if we think about it, we see these are two very towering, and again, I'll focus on Moses, a towering figure. And there's a sense where if uh, we really need, the people of Israel need Moses to shepherd them, right? And turn us into a nation worthy of a land. And we can see this process even hinted in the verse, where obviously when we're leaving Egypt and we go through the splitting of the Sea of Reeds, Moses and the people of Israel sing a song together. However, later on, the Israelites sing their own song, and we see this in the verses. And there's also another verse which talks about how God is telling Moses that you will lie with your ancestors soon, and the people of Israel will rise and they'll lead into prostitution. Now, while in the context of that verse it's negative, it's still we see over there when Moses rests, the people rise. And there's a sense where we're hoping, and what God is leading us to is seeing that Moses is here to educate, raise you, and help you develop. But that's at some point there needs to be a disconnect, and we know this, of course, from psychology that removal of authority doesn't necessarily mean that we want rebellion, but sometimes a removal of authority allows for natural and healthy growth. Right? There's a healthy part of the ego that needs to express itself, explore, and grow. And if it's constantly in the shadow of a great figure such as Moses, then it's very, very hard for that growth to happen properly. Our sages even hint to the fact that if Moses would have entered the land, he would have built a temple, and the temple would have lasted for eternity because it was built by Moses, whose orientation was perfect, and the temple would have been perfect. And then even potentially, that specific sage goes on to say that if the temple would have been destroyed, then the wrath of God would have to be onto the people of Israel themselves, which would have been even more devastating. Right? So for the proper growth of Israel, we need to be able to fall and fail and grow in our own way. And the proper leaders of the people of Israel realized that need and oriented themselves properly. Another midrash tells us how Moses, his face was like the sun, and in that sense, when the sun is out, there is no other light we see, right? That is the main source of light. There isn't room for anything else. There's only room for the sun, for Moses. However, in the same midrash, it mentions that Joshua, right, Joshua bin Nun, Moses' understudy, so to speak, his face was like the face of the moon. Here, too, the moon lights up the night sky, yet it still allows for there to be room for the other luminaries, right? We still see the other stars, and there's room for others to grow as well. And that's why it's a more appropriate match. Now, Moses also, because he's known as Moses and the greatest of all the prophets, it also would seem as the end of growth. And that is what we are taught, I would say, generally and traditionally. However, the Kabbalists do teach that there was a prophecy that was greater than Moses, which was the prophecy of Adam, and there's a potentially a prophecy that's even greater of that, which is the prophecy that comes from the life force, the life spirit, post the resurrection of the dead. And so the people of Israel have the potential in them, like Moses himself says, that you two could all be prophets, right? This is in the context of the two people that were prophetizing in encampment, but nevertheless, we were all there in Sinai, and we all participated in that, and we all have that uh, um, latent potential inside of us. And if we orient ourselves properly, if we look clearly, if we seek out opportunities to grow spiritually, both as individuals and collectively as a community, we too could potentially start seeing things more clearly and maybe even surpass that of Moses, as through him he helped us grow and evolve into a place where we could ask, seek, and demand a closer relationship with our Father. I bless us all with a Shabbat Shalom. Take care.